It is Matt Mosley's Obstructed View podcast, and great to be with you on this Saturday evening. Usually, when we might be reacting to a Baylor, lately it's been a Baylor win in football, but tonight a rare basketball reaction. The Bears are off on the bye today, and full conference slate going on around the Big 12, but the Bears had the day off, and they'll get ready to play up in Morgantown against West Virginia in a game that could get them bowl eligible, which is a far cry from where they were just about a month ago, as they have now gone from 2-4 to 5-4. Tonight on Obstructed View, we react to Baylor basketball. And, man, fun night. Razorbacks, like you would think. I mean, this is a place they used to call Reunion Arena. I was explaining that to my daughter and her boyfriend who went with me to the game tonight. It was fun. I just kind of went as a fan and sat up with some buddies, some of my old Baylor friends, and my daughter got to go with me, who has been accepted to Baylor and is thinking about going, has some other opportunities as well, but it was great to have her there with me and to experience a Baylor win, which was, oh my gosh, it was just it was night and day from, what happened against Gonzaga. This was a 72-67 victory over the Hogs. Baylor led for pretty much the whole game. I think 38 minutes of the game. So they controlled the game. Arkansas got close. They had a big run to start the second half where they tied the game, but the Bears did what they needed to do. I saw a similar type game in Madison Square Garden last December against Duke, and the Bears were in pretty good shape, and they let it get away from them with, 5-6 minutes left in the game. This one, when it was time to get the thing done, they did. And while Arkansas made it a little hairy with getting it within 3 with about 22 seconds left, the Bears made their free throws, and big time from VJ Edgecombe. And VJ, in addition, he had another tough shooting night. It was only 3-11 from the floor, but he ends up with impacting the game in a lot of areas. And, Scott Drew said after the game on ESPNU, he's a winner. And he said, and he said that about all his players. He just said it's great. He didn't want just people that are good on defense or good at passing or good on offense. He wants people that win. And he said something to the effect of the Baylor Bears showed up tonight. And obviously knowing that they had not on national TV to start the season against Gonzaga. It was embarrassing for those players, the coaching staff. Everybody took that one hard. I think Scott probably hardest of all. And especially given the offseason and everything that happened and him almost leaving. But this was good. This was Coach Cal. This is the guy he would have replaced at Kentucky. And this was a good result, and it was a good. I mean, there are things that need to be cleaned up. This team isn't the greatest 3-point shooting team right now. They're not the most efficient. They don't always share the ball as well as they need to. But I mean, let's think about it. They now have a point guard they can bring off the bench in Rob Wright, who is really dictates the pace of the game. To Baylor fans who are kind of tuning in and like, okay, what did I miss? Or what am I thinking about? Let me just give you a couple of things to think about with Rob Wright. Much like Ray J. Dennis last year, who kind of had a really good feel. Kyrie in the NBA has an incredible feel for this. Obviously, Chris Paul. Luka does this. These players that have an incredible feel, not only what's in front of them, but kind of how to dictate what's happening behind them. They'll have players foul them from behind because they are controlling the pace at all times. And Rob Wright has that. And he gets where he wants to get. He's strong. He can finish in traffic. And so I would say right now with Langston Love, still Bears being cautious with him. I mean, he's obviously one of the better. I don't know if they'll bring him off the bench or what they'll do, but he's one of the best 6 men in the country. Right now, Rob Wright is the best thing the Bears have coming off the bench. Celestine can do some nice things, but hit the 1-3. He's been a little bit off early. He obviously came into Baylor from Cal as like a 42% 3-point shooter. Haven't seen that through 2 games, but did hit a big bucket in this game. And every time Arkansas, and they had great fans and great support. And the Bears showed up. Bear fans were fine. I just don't think. I think Arkansas fans love Dallas. It's in their DNA. It's in their. They did it for all those years, the SWC, and I know a lot of those fans, like myself. I was a kid during all that stuff. We remember sort of our childhoods through all that. So this is a lot of younger fans showing up, so they might not remember all that, but it was really neat to see 2 old SWC, competitors and get it on like they did, and that was just that was really, really fun. The whole evening, the game, seeing Calipari over there, and kind of what he does during a game, and then kind of seeing what he's going to have this season. Certainly some talent. Arkansas is not without talent, but right now it's a work in progress, much like the Bears. So Baylor gets to 1-1. I still think they'll probably fall in the rankings based on what happened against Gonzaga. I think this kind of helps, and so perhaps they won't go from like 8 to 13 or 8 to 14. They may go 8 to 10. They may stay right there. They may stay at number 8, number 9. I just think the Gonzaga thing, they're going to knock them a little bit in the things I was a little bit surprised about. They're trying to play Asamoah a little bit. He's a freshman. He's long. He's athletic. I think he's going to do some nice things. I think Scott's trying to get a feel for him and trying to get him into games. So played only 3 minutes, but I was a little surprised to see him get involved in this game in when it was still a game, which was pretty much the entire evening. Bears had a really nice run before the half. They hit a 3 to take a 9-point halftime lead, and then boy, they one thing they've got to watch this season is that that the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half is just incredibly important. Bears have had moments where they're great at that. I thought last year they had some slippage in that area, and they let the Hogs come back and tie that game. I think they did it at maybe 44-44, and then the Bears hit them back. And each time when they did tie it, the guy who hit the 3 that kind of gave Baylor its swagger and they started building on the lead again was Jaden Nunn. And he is a shot maker. He was not making his threes in that first game. I believe he was 0 for 5. So it was very nice to see him 4 for 7 from 3. Hit some big shots. He's a relentless player. Obviously plays good defense. I thought the Bears played some good defense. Rebounded the ball pretty well. I wanted to see what the rebounding, what that ended up. The Bears are gonna get out rebounded this season. They're just not that long. They just don't have that much height. But this wasn't bad. This was 37-32. It looks like Arkansas out rebounded the Bears. But and Baylor, I don't know if they'll be in the past. They've been a great offensive rebounding team. They had 9. Arkansas had 12. And so I'll look and see later on just second chance points and what that led to. I think this is a team that's going to get better and better. I would just say the most valuable player, as named by the people who put on this game, was Norchad Omier, and I have no problem with that. Norchad had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and he is so strong. And he's good around the rim. He does not mind if he gets blocked or he misses a shot or something like that. He goes right back up. So, again, I've compared him at times. He's built almost like Rico or Vital and some of those bulky, great. This guy is not the athlete that either Vital. I mean, he's a little more like Rico, in just how he's put together. He's just, but he's a he has much more touch than really Rico ever did. Rico is just a great defender and rebounder and everything, and relentless on the boards. Um, Maybe a little more like Ish Wainwright body type, but bigger than Ish was. At 6'7", Ish just had incredibly long arms, had great reach, great wingspan. So this was the night that we really got a better look at VJ Edgecombe. And they're still going to have to figure out the best way. You know, he tried to take some threes tonight that they weren't falling. He did hit his first three of the season, but he's only 1 for 7 from 3-point range. Made 2 big free throws late. You know, they're only up by 3, and he gets into the line. He hit both to basically have the final outcome there. But 11 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block. I mean, he is extremely active. He has one just gorgeous block a game, and then he has one great dunk, and he glided in for a beautiful dunk in this game. He's always going to be the most athletic guy on the court. And, Boogie Fland, Thero for the Razorbacks, both really good players, but they just don't. Nobody has the athleticism that he does. And he jumps up and over people, and you have to account for him at all times. So, I mean, it's really something to watch him. I mean, he may not have the numbers that like a Trey Johnson has at Texas, but I do think there's several ways he can impact the game, and the biggest impact is he wants to win, and he'll do anything to win. If that's shooting, great. If that's rebounding, that's fine. Had a couple of offensive rebounds, but also a willing passer. I thought he had some nice interior deliveries to, I think he hit Omer on one that I recall, but penetration, the ability not to force it, okay? Again, not a good shooting night. I mean, the Bears shot 29% from 3, shot okay from the field at about 47%. That's not awful. Omer is I think Omer's going to be one of the best. He's going to have one of the best field goal percentages in the conference because he's just like the guy at Houston, Juwan Roberts. They're playing right now as we record this. They're playing Auburn. I think they were up 30-26 at halftime. That game's over on ESPNU. And Auburn had a couple of players get in a fight on the plane. They had to take them back to campus and leave them and then fly back to Houston. So weirdness there. Everybody else shot pretty well tonight. Jeremy Roach, 5 for 10. Jaden Nunn, 6 for 13, 4 for 7 from 3. And I think it's just VJ was really maybe your best all-around player in this game. Although Omer had a very, very nice game. Thought Ojanwina actually did some good things defensively, moved well. He's very versatile on defense, did some nice things. Great win. You just got to, you don't want to start 0-2. Arkansas is the number 16 team in the country, so you get a ranked win. I mean, they're going to be good, but it's going to take them a while. They're not ready. They're not ready yet either. But I mean, let's tell it like it is. Although Baylor did bring some of its Dallas crew, and I thought the Bears made some pretty good noise. The Razorbacks can take over an arena. And there were about 10 or 11,000 people at this game. That place holds like 19 or something, so it was not a full house by any stretch. But some fun basketball was held, and I think Arkansas probably had 6,000, let's say, and the Bears had maybe 4,000 of the 10,000. And Razorbacks just did a great job. I mean, they do. They love when their team's in Dallas. They got used to it with the whole A&M thing, football. But there's a basketball. There's just so much. What they did in hiring Calipari is, they took him off Kentucky's hands because that had gotten stale, and now people are giving huge money. They're monsters in the NIL space, and so it'll be a great program moving forward. And I think if he doesn't win a national title there, he'll at least probably get them to the Final Four at some point. But it didn't look like a Final Four team to me. But they'll be okay. One of their better players had a bad night. John L. Davis only played 21 minutes. I don't know why. I guess he had 3 fouls. I don't know why that he only played 21 minutes. But anyway, he scored 8 points and was just not. He was at FAU and helped lead them to a Final Four just a couple of seasons ago. And he's a very nice player. And I mean, everybody they have is Thero came from he came from Kentucky with Cal. Wagner came from Kentucky. John L came from FAU. I don't know where their European center came from. He didn't have that huge of an impact. Only played 17 minutes. They played some people off the bench, but didn't get much scoring off the bench. In fact, got 8 points off the bench. Bears didn't get a ton of points, but they did get. Rob Wright played great off the bench, and he's like a starter. I mean, Rob Wright is just a flat out. He played 17 minutes. Look at his impact in 17 minutes. 3 for 4 from the field. 4 for 5 from the free throw line. He's strong. He gets to the line. A couple of assists. Turnovers have been. I mean, that was the one thing that was not horrible in that Gonzaga loss. Is they only turned the ball over about 8 times in this game, so that's not bad. Arkansas turned it over 11, and the Bears had, 6 steals. None had 3 of them. Okay, so he got after it, and again, love the way he plays. Love everything about his game. Let me give you just a couple of takeaways where I think this thing's headed. They play again Tuesday, Sam Houston State. I mean, they just got their footing in this game. I love our new camera. It just kind of, no matter where I move, and I can get a little herky-jerky. It just kind of follows me. Just kind of, there I am over here. Come on over here. It's a beautiful camera. And I think the team found itself, and I think, this thing doesn't have an identity yet, but boy, if you play extremely tough on defense, pressure the ball, didn't give up a lot of easy threes. They did hit some threes, but only 5 for 20. Well, if you can hold a team like Arkansas to 25% from out there, Bears were 7 of 24, so certainly not much of a better percentage. In fact, just a little bit better than Arkansas percentage-wise, but did hit 7. So, well, if I'm doing my math correct, that's now like 9 for 40-something on the year. So it'll take them a while to catch up off after a bad shooting start from the three-point line. But the defense, you can hang. That always travels. And I look at this lineup, and there's nobody that's not willing to play defense. I mean, everybody. Celestine had a bad shooting night, was 1 for 6, but he stayed on the floor because he competed. He got after it. He had 5 rebounds, had 2 offensive rebounds, had a steal. And so while he didn't have a good shooting night, he found a way to sort of impact the game in other areas. I just think you hate to have happen what happened to the Bears, and that's an embarrassing start. And they kind of didn't meet the standard. And that's a tough thing for Scott and everybody to accept. Tough thing for the coaching staff. They rallied. You knew they would. They bounced back. That's a big win. Now they can start building on. They have something. They have some basis to have some confidence in, and they beat a very talented team. I mean, this was more like what the Bears are supposed to do. I mean, I don't love what I'm seeing from the offense right now. I mean, it's going to take some time. I think Steve Henson, who was the UTSA coach and was a great assistant for Lon Kruger, he's a good offensive mind. But they're just going to have to, a lot of times they're kind of spreading the floor, and I'm seeing too many contested shots, not quite enough ball movement. I do think they have some guys that can take the ball in off the dribble and score in traffic. Rob can do that. VJ can do that. Omir can obviously do that because he's so powerful. None is a finisher. I mean, it's hard to find too many guys on this roster that can't finish. And again, the big exciting, a little bit surprise early in this season is that Rob Wright has shown up on the scene. I mean, again, his ceiling right now is not VJ's ceiling. I mean, VJ is again always the greatest athlete on the floor, but Rob is such a polished player. I mean, he really is, and um, they just have to figure each other out. Like right now, Roach, like he's turning the ball over early in games. I mean, nothing awful, but he's just not taking care of the ball and not being strong with the ball. He had only 2 turnovers, but he had them all in the first like 3 or 4 minutes of the game. It's just like when you're trying to get established and trying to get the game going and everything. And again, I don't just maybe nerves or whatever, but just was not strong with the basketball early. But he's a good finisher. He's smooth. I mean, there's not many players they'll encounter, even in the great Big 12, that have players as like none is kind of just he's a knifing and he can shoot the three, but he's a slashing type guard where Rob Wright and um and our man Roach are both really smooth, great tempo, great pace. So as long as they're kind of dictating things, they're okay. And then they'll at times be able to play together. There's a lot of things you can kind of mix and match with this team. I mean, the team's I mean, I love Omir. He's going to fit in beautifully. He really is. He's a powerful, tough dude, and he will lead because he is a brawler. But Ojanwana is again very versatile on defense and then gives you an outlet, whether it's for the alley oop, whether it's get it to him. He knows how to present himself. So again, I think he's probably one of the guys that at times frustrates the coaching staff more than anybody. But he's a good player and he's worth being frustrated with. You've got to give him minutes because he's long, he affects shots, and he can finish. He can finish. I mean, again, he's not Eve Meesey, but he's Josh Ojanwana. He's what you need. He's okay. He's okay, and he gives you sometimes the length that you need. A lot of times, Bears will play small, and that may hurt them at times, but they can also give teams a lot of grief with that smaller lineup because they're going to be fast. Everybody can dribble. Everybody can hit the three. It's a tough. It's the kind of thing NBA teams have gone to, and NBA teams really enjoy. So there you go, basketball, and the women are off to a good start too. And they played the other night in the showdown or the blockbuster on the Brazos and won huge. They got a game tomorrow against Oregon. So let's take a peek at that because Oregon will be a step up in competition from whoever they played the other night. Incarnate Word, I believe it was. All right, let's look real quick. Really appreciate my colleagues at Rogue, especially my man Mike Hamilton. A rare Saturday night. He thought he had off, but Mosley decides to do kind of a game recap. But very appreciative of Mike and the whole staff, what they do. As we're doing this, by the way, Houston has started to pull away from Auburn in the second half of that game, 41-32. That's going to be an interesting game because we're waiting to see kind of, I know who they're going to use, and that's a guy named Ulis as their point guard, but it's extremely hard to replace a guy like Jamal Shed, so we need to watch that. I wanted to look real quick at the Big 12 today, and Uh, as we speak, BYU has a 10-7, and that was one of those. I mean, I knew this was going to be a rock'em sock'em game. This is a huge rivalry game. It used to be called the Religious War. I don't know. I guess we can't do these things anymore. A lot of these names have changed, but this was a big one. The Mormons get involved with Utah, and they're right up there all together. Provo, not far from Salt Lake City, of course. And so BYU has taken a 10-7 lead in that one. And Kansas knocks off number 17 Iowa State 45-36 today. And then, and again, sometimes this makes you sick as a Baylor fan, because Baylor would kind of still be in the thick of things if they had just finished off that game at Colorado. Of course, we didn't know they were going to turn the season around and win 3 straight. I guess you could say, well, they were going to win, 4 straight or something, or 5 straight. I don't know. But the Bears are in great shape. But Colorado was trailing down, what did I see? 13-0 or at least 10-0 early against Tech out there in Lubbock. And Dion and the gang come back and win that game 41-27. Wow. I mean, so you have a situation where Dion and Colorado are, I mean, in the whole BYU, if BYU can get past Utah tonight, we'll see. Been a lot of upsets, but Colorado is now looking really, really good. And so you got Colorado and BYU as possible playoff teams. Would they put BYU in with one loss? I don't know. I mean, it's right now they're not ranking them that high. I think they had them ninth, 8th or 9th. I guess it was 9th. And so right now I'd have to almost say no. Would Colorado, if Colorado is able to run the table, well, obviously they get in if they win the conference. I mean, I think the thing would be if Colorado wins out and gets in, the question will be, and BYU has one loss, can you get 2 Big 12 teams in? Not a great year for the Big 12, but anyway, other scores. TCU continues. Boy, they put it on Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy, who had some ridiculous comments last week about how people that criticize them can't pay their bills, and he infuriated his own fan base, and really some just mind-numbing stuff. Mike, I like Mike, but sometimes he just absolutely wanders out there, and I think he thinks he's kind of funny, and he is funny at times, but then sometimes he just says asinine stuff, and he did so in this case. TCU puts it on Oklahoma State 38-13. Oklahoma State still winless in conference play. Arizona State, it is a final, takes down UCF 35-31. They've had some big wins this year, and I don't know if Malzahn could be in trouble at UCF. Dillingham has things moving in the right direction. Arizona State, big win in Cincinnati. West Virginia wins 31-24. That's Baylor's next opponent. West Virginia had to make a change on defense. They fired their defense coordinator, and I guess so far so good. They win 31-24. So I think I've covered everything in the Big 12 today, and the Bears will get ready to face a West Virginia team after having the bye off. Bears 5-4, and West Virginia sitting there at 5-4 as well. So you'll have 2 teams desperately wanting to get that become eligible, bowl eligible, and that'll be interesting. I think that'll almost be like a pick 'em. I could see Vegas favoring West Virginia, especially in Morgantown, this afternoon game. By two or 3 or something over the Bears. But Bears will not, Bears ran Texas Tech off the field. They're not going to go into Morgantown with any, I don't think, nerves or scared or anything like that. We do need to say they haven't won there. And that's the one place, they've always been waiting to kind of break through. And so this would be an incredible opportunity, and the Bears would get to 6-4. All right, that is all we have reacting to Baylor's win. Number 8 Bears beat the number 16 Arkansas Razorbacks. It was an old It was almost like the SWC tournament. The Bears and the Razorbacks. The only difference was the Bears actually won. I don't recall us beating Eddie Sutton and then Nolan Richardson. It didn't happen that often, although 1990 in the Farrell Center with my man Julius Denton and David Wesley and Toby Christian and Reichert and all those guys. That was a great, great win for the Bears when the Razorbacks were number 3 in the country. All right, for Mike Hamilton, and Corey Dickman, and our staff at Rogue Media Network, I am Matt Mosley. Thanks for watching Obstructed View.
We are Rogue Media Sports.